Browns veteran turns on Shedeur Sanders after Kevin Stefanski's tough QB decision. Introduction: the arrival of a polarizing prospect. When the Cleveland Browns used their draft pick on Shedeur Sanders, the football world reacted with a mixture of excitement and hesitation. On one hand, Sanders brought dazzling production from his college days at Colorado. He threw for an eye-popping 4,134 yards and 37 touchdowns in 2024, showcasing arm talent, accuracy, and flashes of brilliance that made him look like a quarterback capable of transforming a franchise. On the other hand, he absorbed a staggering 42 sacks that same season, the second straight year he led the nation in sacks taken. Scouts repeatedly warned that this tendency, his habit of holding on to the ball too long and drifting too deep in the pocket, could spell disaster in the NFL. The Browns knew they weren't just drafting any rookie quarterback. They were drafting a polarizing name, the son of Deion coach Prime Sanders. And the weight of that family legacy added an extra layer of scrutiny. Every throw, every decision, every mistake would be magnified under the national spotlight. Cleveland fans, long starved for quarterback stability, hoped Sanders could be the answer. But they also braced themselves for the possibility that the same flaws which haunted him in college would follow him to the pros. The debut against Carolina, a glimpse of hope. The first chapter of Sanders' NFL journey unfolded in a preseason clash with the Carolina Panthers. The stadium buzzed with anticipation. Fans wanted to see if he was ready for the professional stage or if he would crumble under the pressure. From the opening snaps, Sanders looked calm and poised. He completed 14 of 23 passes for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns, showing accuracy on short throws and confidence in attacking tight windows. He demonstrated mobility as well, carrying the ball 4 times for 19 yards, keeping drives alive and flashing an ability to extend plays with his legs. Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland's head coach, didn't hesitate to praise his young quarterback. Pleased with Shedeur Sanders, pleased with the offense. Again, not perfect, plenty that we can work on. But I thought the guys did a really nice job with Shedeur. It wasn't flawless, but it was encouraging. Sanders' performance against Carolina painted the picture of a quarterback who might be raw, but who also carried the upside to one day lead an NFL offense. For the Browns, who have cycled through countless quarterbacks over the past 2 decades, that brief glimpse of hope felt like fresh air. The collapse against the Rams, old habits resurface. If Carolina was the dream, Los Angeles was the nightmare. Just a week later, Sanders faced the Rams in his second preseason appearance, and the contrast was jarring. Instead of stepping confidently into the pocket, Sanders immediately began drifting backward. As the Rams' defensive line pressured him, he retreated deeper and deeper, compounding the problem. His timing broke down, his rhythm faltered, and his instincts betrayed him. Rather than trusting his protection or climbing into the pocket, he attempted late escapes, sliding toward the sideline only to be swallowed by defenders. The statistics told the story: 5 drives in the second half, only 1 first down and 5 sacks taken. The low light came on a devastating 24-yard sack, where Sanders scrambled aimlessly, refusing to throw the ball away, and dragged the offense into an unrecoverable hole. This wasn't just a bad game. It was a haunting flashback to his college flaws, the same issues scouts had warned about, now magnified under NFL speed. Joe Thomas speaks, a Hall of Famer's harsh reality. No voice carries more weight in Cleveland football circles than Joe Thomas, the Hall of Fame left tackle who defined grit and loyalty during his 11 years with the Browns. Known for his 10,363 consecutive snaps, Thomas has seen every type of quarterback come and go through Cleveland. When he speaks, fans and coaches listen. On the Dogs podcast, Thomas delivered a blunt assessment of Sanders' struggles. Unfortunately, the things that made Shedeur drop in the draft were he takes too many sacks. He drifts in the pocket. He's not comfortable stepping up into the pocket and making quick decisions and reading the defense, Thomas said. He contrasted the rookie's 2 performances. The first time we saw him against Carolina, he was money. He was lights out, and it was awesome watching that decision-making process. But then we did see sort of the college Shedeur a little bit in the game against the Rams, where right off the bat he's dropping too deep. And instead of stepping up as he's going through his progressions, he tries to drift, and then escape the pocket from the backside. Thomas's analysis cut to the core of Sanders' biggest challenge. It wasn't about talent. Shedeur clearly had the arm and the athleticism. It was about trust, discipline, and decision-making. And in the NFL, where defenses are faster and smarter, hesitation is deadly. Losing confidence, a rookie's mental battle. Perhaps the most damning part of Thomas's critique wasn't about mechanics, but about mindset. As soon as he lost confidence in his protection because he was getting hit, now all of a sudden, he just continues to drop deeper and deeper, which is just compounding the problem. He wasn't able to self-correct in the moment, and he let the frustration get the best of him. Those words revealed a troubling truth. Sanders wasn't just physically rattled, he was mentally shaken. In the NFL, quarterbacks must not only execute plays but also reset after mistakes. The great ones forget the last play and focus on the next. Sanders, instead, carried his frustrations into each snap, and the results spiraled. For a rookie, it was a reality check. For Cleveland, it was a warning. Stefanski's verdict, QB3 for Shedeur Sanders. While Thomas's words carried weight in the media, the decision that mattered most came from Kevin Stefanski. Just before the regular season began, Stefanski finalized his quarterback depth chart. QB1, Joe Flacco, the veteran Super Bowl champion. QB2, Dillon Gabriel, the rookie who impressed with poise and consistency. QB3, Shedeur Sanders, the emergency option. NFL insider Ian Rappaport broke it down. #Browns coach Kevin Stefanski tells reporters that Shedeur Sanders will be the third QB, meaning he's able to dress for games. The designation wasn't ceremonial. Under the 2023 NFL emergency quarterback bylaw, Sanders could dress for game days but could only play if both Flacco and Gabriel were unavailable due to injury or ejection. He couldn't be inserted simply because of poor performance. In other words, Stefanski didn't trust him, not yet. Albert Breer put it plainly. At this point, they would feel more comfortable putting Dillon Gabriel in a regular season game than they would Shedeur Sanders. For Sanders, who once boldly declared he wanted to change a franchise, the message was clear. Ambition and reality were still worlds apart. The symbolism, a veteran turning on a rookie, the storyline quickly evolved into something bigger than depth charts. Joe Thomas, the symbol of Cleveland's past, had issued a warning. Kevin Stefanski, the decision-maker of Cleveland's present, had acted on it. And Shedeur Sanders, the supposed future, found himself cast into a waiting role. It felt like a symbolic moment, a veteran turning on a rookie not out of malice, but out of hard-earned honesty. Thomas wasn't rooting against Sanders. He was demanding better, holding him to the unforgiving standard of the NFL. The burden of the Sanders name. Complicating everything was the fact that Shedeur isn't just any rookie. He is the son of Deion Sanders, one of the most famous and influential figures in football history. That legacy is both a gift and a curse. Every success draws headlines. Every mistake multiplies under scrutiny. Fans don't just see Shedeur. They see Coach Prime's son. Opponents don't just face a rookie quarterback. They face the child of a Hall of Famer. And media outlets don't just report his games. They spin narratives about family, legacy, and expectation. That weight is enormous. And while it fuels motivation, it also magnifies every stumble. Can Sanders flip the script? History reminds us that early struggles don't define careers. Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions his rookie season. Josh Allen was mocked as inaccurate before becoming one of the NFL's most dangerous quarterbacks. Even Flacco, Sanders' mentor and competitor, had his share of growing pains before hoisting a Super Bowl trophy. The question isn't whether Sanders can recover. The question is whether he can adapt. Can he learn to climb the pocket instead of drifting? Can he release the ball faster and trust his reads? Can he reset after mistakes instead of spiraling? If he can, his story in Cleveland could still be one of redemption. If not, his career risks becoming another cautionary tale in the Browns' long, painful quarterback history. Conclusion: a rookie's harsh welcome. The saga of Shedeur Sanders' first preseason is a microcosm of NFL reality. In one game, he looked like a franchise savior. In the next, he looked like a raw project. Joe Thomas's veteran voice made the concerns louder. Kevin Stefanski's depth chart made the reality official. For now, Shedeur Sanders is QB3, a dressed but sidelined emergency option. For now, his dream of changing a franchise is on hold. But football careers aren't defined in August. They're defined in how players respond to adversity. And for Sanders, the next chapter will be less about being Coach Prime's son and more about proving he can be his own man under NFL lights.